Hey guys, welcome to an Herbal Marie hangout with the herb chickweed. So get cozy because, as you can see, uh, probably half of the herb books that I own talk about chickweed. So I opened up my little folder, my nerdy folder, that I've decided that this is the year that I am going to go through and see like what notes I've collected. This was so much more fun whenever I was getting like herbal magazines and you can make clippings and I had time to take notes. But now I kind of feel like I just want to go through them. I want to go through the herbs that are relevant to me and to you and kind of, if I get to the rest, great. But chickweed is definitely one of those ones that even little kids can learn about, as mine did with the herb fairies and Stellaria's Big Find. So this is a ton of books, not too many notes I took, but we can dive in to chickweed and really do a review on review on review, and we'll probably repeat and repeat and repeat a few things to remind you how you can use this plant. This is one coming up in the spring that will be one of the first ones growing. You can eat it, and chickweed has a lot of great things that it can do to soothe your body, and let's find out more. Okay, so now this, I remember, I did not quote this page, but I remember taking notes from the book that I don't own yet. It's about 13 weeds that are all over the world, and chickweed was one of them. And I apologize to the lady. I've never quite remembered her name, but I must have loved that she blessed chickweed and had a chickweed blessing that said, "May chickweed empower each of us to live out our soul passions." So yes, we're going to talk about allopathic things about your body, but if you've been following the Herbal Marie journey, then you know Sadie has veered off into some weird woo-woo mystical stuff that really kind of touches on the spirit of herbs a lot more and life itself. So if chickweed can help each of us by empowerment to help us live out our soul passions and to help me get back to this podcast, so freaking be it. And I welcome it. And I thank chickweed to help us do that, because I have tested out how it is to live life without having a lot of passion. And it's downright dark and dreary. Now, chickweed is high in vitamin C. It's delicate and yummy and tasty in your tummy. So pretty sure that was a direct quote from the book. And she must have had a couple little tips. You can eat the leaves fresh, or you can juice them, crush it for a poultice for the skin. It can help draw out infection and toxins from the skin. So that means it's good for bruises and burns and cuts and rashes and insect bites. And you can make an oil with the dried greens. You can eat them raw because it helps remove gas and indigestion and congestion and infection. Chickweed, the fresh leaves, juice them up, eat them up, even make a tincture, dry them, and make an oil. So that's it in a nutshell. And now this will all probably reiterate those main points again and again in different ways, but you are welcome, more than welcome, to hang out and do that with me, because if you love the herbs, sometimes you just can't get enough. So here I've got a little recipe that I clipped out of an herb book. The paper in itself says that that was a while ago. And it's called Chickweed and Vinegar, Poison Ivy Relief. So this blend is a must for any herbal first aid kit. Both chickweed, a common plant found throughout most of the United States, and apple cider vinegar are effective folk remedies for itch and rash of poison ivy and poison oak. So you make a spray with this, and then it helps stop the weeping of the poison ivy rash and blisters. And because it's in vinegar, it has an indefinite shelf life, and you can make up a big batch, share it with friends. So chickweed, you go out, you harvest it, you get several handfuls of fresh chickweed and apple cider vinegar. Make sure you pick the chickweed from an unsprayed area. You rinse it, you pat it dry, you roughly chop the chickweed and place it in a wide mouth jar. Then you add enough apple cider vinegar to cover the chickweed. Cap it up, let it sit for 3 or 4 days, strain out the chickweed, and then dilute your vinegar with an equal amount of distilled water, because straight up vinegar might be a little too harsh for your skin. Place it in a clean jar or a spray bottle, date and label it, and store it in the fridge. And then you just apply the vinegar to the affected area as often as necessary. So I kind of laughed whenever it said about dating it and labeling it, because I'm notoriously bad for not doing that. And a lot of the tinctures in my cupboard, the labels, which were probably those dissolvable mason jar labels, they've dissolved. So I have so many unmarked containers of old tinctures and old this and that. It's pretty wild. That's a great idea though for itchy skin. So here is a okay picture of chickweed on this card that I have. You know that I love cards, and I'm actually excited to go through my herb stuff and recollect these cards and put them back into a deck. Stellaria. As you can see, it kind of grows everywhere. And on the back of this playing card, the 2 of spades, if you will, the common chickweed, also called starwort. You can eat the entire plant. It's real low. It usually grows low to the ground, creeps on the ground, mats in gardens, tiny paired opposite leaves, star-like white flowers that have 5 pairs of petals. So it's highly nutritious. You can eat it raw. You can steam it, boil it, saute, you could drink the liquid used for cooking, and you can juice it like we were just talking about. You could even freeze it, dry and powder it for nutrient additives. Hints: chew stem for a lasting milky gum. Okay, that's new. Chew the stem for a lasting milky gum. If you just need to chomp, if you've got the need to chomp, get one of these chickweed stems. All right, so let's keep working through this pile here and see what else we've got. I did mention to you that the Herb Fairies, which is a great storybook for kids, and it comes with like activities, curriculum. There's an online, you can find that online. The Herb Fairies, this is the first book, and that's the first herb that they do, herbfairies.com. I think I have the lifetime membership, probably. But yeah, Stellaria is the star of this little book, and the Herb Fairies is super cute. They help a troll feel better. So if that doesn't sell that whole thing, I mean, my kids are all big and grown now, but I would just absolutely love to read that story again for myself. Chickweed has been around so long that Nicholas Culpeper mentions it in his book, absolutely. And then we'll maybe move on to my make-believe dad, James Duke. So let's see what Nicholas has here. In the spirit of Nicholas Culpeper, do I need to embrace Nicholas Culpeper talking about chickweed? Nicholas says the place, these are usually found in moist and watery places by woodsides and elsewhere. I just can't even help it. They flower about June and their seed is ripe in July. Now, it seems to come earlier than, the greens show up in early spring around Pennsylvania. So it's a fine, soft, pleasing herb under the dominion of the moon. It is found to be as effectual as purslane. And I wonder if he means purslane. Yeah, purslane. For a second, I thought he meant plantain. But yeah, I think that's just purslane spelled a little different. As effectual as purslane to all the purposes whereunto it serves, except for meat only. The herb bruised, or the juice applied, with cloths or sponges dipped therein, to the region of the liver, does wonderfully temper the heat of the liver, and is effectual. What a great word, effectual for all imposthumes and swellings whatsoever. The same helps cramps, convulsions, and palsies. The juice or distilled water is of good use for all heat and redness in the eyes, to drop some of it into them, as also into the ears, to ease the pains in them, and is of good effect to ease the pains and heat and sharpness of blood in the piles. That's your butt. And all the, you'll find those hopefully not in your butt, piles, hemorrhoids, and all pains of the body in general that proceed from heat. It is also used in ulcers and sores. So the chickweed leaves boiled with marshmallows. Marshmallow, you know marshmallow. I think we're going to hear it a couple times because chickweed and marshmallow, those are good friends. You can boil them with marshmallow root, and you could make it into a poultice with fenugreek and linseed. Applied to the swellings or imposthumes, ripens and breaks them, and assuages the swellings and eases the pain. It helps the sinews when they are shrunk by cramps or otherwise. So that is Nicholas's version of chickweed, the great chickweed and the common chickweed. All right. That's that old thing. What a fun book, though. Okay, so that makes me want to get a little bit na. I mean, Nicholas Culpeper was definitely the nerd of his time, but that makes me want to hunt for, where would it be? Yes, that makes me want to hunt for Michael Tierra's nerdy book. Oh yeah, big time cool nerd. I bookmarked all this previously to spare you. Okay, so we get some big nerdy words here, but he mentions chickweed. Where did I see it? He mentioned it about blood purification because it dries excess moisture and removes excess fat where toxins are retained. So plantain, mullein, chickweed, and gotugola. Those are some blood purification herbs. So let's turn to his page on chickweed. Stellaria media. You can call it starweed. It's sweet, mildly bitter, and cool energy. So as we eat this cooling plant, it's a little bit bitter, a little bit sweet. The systems affected the most are the lungs and the stomach. It has saponins in it, which exert an anti-inflammatory action similar to cortisone, but much milder and without the harmful side effects. This action has made a direct application of chickweed oil on skin rashes widely used and appreciated by herbalists. So it is a demulcent, it's an emollient, it's an expectorant, It's an antitussive, an antipyretic, alterative, and vulnerary. Michael suggests in The Way of Herbs to make a standard infusion using 1 ounce of the dried or 2 ounces of the fresh herb. 1 cup is taken 3 times daily or as needed. It's great for skin irritations. It's great for itches and rashes. Internally, weight loss. You can use it as a pot herb. You can use it as a demulcent for a sore throat and lungs. Notes: chickweed is a common wayside weed with great value in treating blood toxicity, fevers, inflammation, and other hot diseases. It is mild enough to be eaten safely as a pot herb. Its most common use is as an oil or a salve applied directly to skin rashes, eczema, and psoriasis. For this, The whole, fresh or dried, is macerated in olive oil for 4 days. It is then squeezed out through a cloth and it is ready to use. So another traditional use for chickweed is for weight reduction. Whether this is due to any direct elimination of fat, its filling demulcent properties, its mild diuretic and laxative properties, or a combination of all three, it would be difficult to prove. Externally, a poultice of the steamed herb is applied to resolve boils and abscesses. So, and then there's a whole like chickweed returning you back to your passion. You just feel better all around. So, wow, we haven't even like chunked out. We haven't even begun. But chickweed, it is a fun herb to know about because it is actually growing everywhere. Once you start to recognize it, you'll find it. It's free and you can eat it. You can cook it. Now, James Duke mentions chickweed in his book about overweight too. So let me just read right from that. Chickweed, Stellaria media. This herb has quite a folk reputation. We'll get the next ones in the line up here. See what happens when you add some to your diet. Some people eat it raw in salads and steam it and eat it like a vegetable. Personally, James preferred to disguise it by including it with other greens. Now he says, if you want to try my weed feed mixture of slimming edible weeds, mixed chickweed, dandelion, evening primrose, stinging nettle, cooked and cooled, plantain, and purslane. So there is a ton of stuff that you can go out and eat in your yard if you haven't sprayed it with chemicals, of course. If you have a real backyard, then there's some real free food back there for you. You can eat this mixture of fresh herbs in a salad. You can also cook all of the greens and perhaps spice them up with some slimming hot sauce. So if you want to lose weight, chickweed might very well be a good little friend for you. If nothing else, if you don't need to lose weight, then think about incorporating that into your salad because of its blood purifying and cooling properties. So this little book is the Holistic Herbal Directory by Penelope Odie. And I did find a page here with Stellaria Media. There she is. How pretty. How pretty small of writing as well. It's sweet and salty. You can use all the aerial parts. The character is cold and moist. The meridian, stomach, lung, heart, large intestine. Actions, astringent, anti-rheumatic, wound, healer, and demulcent. So that's a nice illustration of chickweed. It has long been used for feeding domestic fowl. So chickens like chickweed. So you could pick it and put it in their pen, or let them free range and they will find it themselves. It's very soothing for irritated skin, rashes, eczema, and it can also be used as a first aid for burns, boils, drawn out splinters. It was regarded as a significant source of vitamin C. So if you're up here where citrus fruits don't grow, just remember you can get vitamin C from chickweed. Add it to your salad, cook it as a vegetable. No cautions. It's generally regarded as very, very, very safe. So that's why it's in so many of these herb books, because everybody just loves it. Okay, this one I just decided to tell you what's in the index. It's good for chafing, eczema, dermatitis, itching in pets, and shingles. So even your pets could benefit from this chickweed oil that you're going to make. And chickweed, it says, for shingles, it says, smooth on a thin layer of soothing cream twice a day. 17th century herbalist Nicholas Culpeper recommended boiling chickweed in hog's grease to calm itching skin. Now you can just go to your local health food store and buy a tube of chickweed cream to ease the itchies. No hog's grease necessary. So, like, you can make this as simple as you want, but honestly, soaking some in 4 days in olive oil is pretty darn simple. Don't you think? Okay, so let's see what else we've got here. We are chugging along. Isn't it great how many herb books I have? Like every once in a while I think like, should I get rid of some of these? And then like, why? Why should I give up any of these beautiful things? Especially these ones that say copyright 1979. It's up to you if you need a new book or an old book. But some of these old books are super duper fun with how they talk about it. So this one must have been alphabetical and is called Herbal Medicine by Deanne Duncan. I don't know. Anyways, once we've talked about chicory, can chickweed be far behind? Not if you know your alphabet. I say this with a touch of amusement, as most people just can't seem to separate these two similar sounding weeds. It reminds me of that delightful Offenstein poem, Some People Can, Some People Can't Tell the Difference Between Gary Cooper and Cary Grant. Whoa. You just dated yourself if you thought that was funny. Chickweed has half-inch whitish flowers and is like a creeper. It is called chickweed because the chickens and birds love it so much. So yes, you can use it as food. This lowly plant found along waysides and on so many lawns is an excellent herb of many uses. A Swiss herbalist says that fresh chickweed can be prepared like spinach and is a wonderful heart strengthener and also brings back vigor and strength to those who are recovering from an illness. As children, we are sometimes given drinks of chickweed to cleanse the system and overcome a fever. So inflammation, it says chickweed can be crushed and applied to wounds and has the virtue of taking away the heat and many inflammation. It can be used as a poultice and it can be applied to the skin for any sort of swelling or skin problem. Anything hot, anything inflamed, think of chickweed. Crush the leaves, put them on the heated area, and place a large cabbage leaf or romaine lettuce leaf over this poultice. The chickweed will soon absorb the heat of any inflammation. Keep on replacing the poultice with fresh chickweed. Or make up a chickweed ointment. She says, I like to make up a chickweed ointment just as my grandmother did, melting the leaves in a 1/4 pound or so of hydrous androgen. Wait, Sadie, don't say that word. That's not what that is. Anhydrous lanolin, not androgynous lanolin. You just can't even tell. That lanolin, you just can't even tell about that lanolin. Anhydrous lanolin. I bake it in the oven for several hours and then skim off the burnt herb. My grandmother used this ointment on sore legs and for rheumatic pain. So that is chickweed. I mean, seriously, just soak it in some olive oil. You don't need to make your house stink. All right, now back here, I bookmarked this one page that said, add the juice of this wayside weed of chickweed to warts, and they will eventually fall off. So eventually the wart will fall off, according to that 1979 book. This is also a classic, the Herb Book, the most complete catalog of miracle plants ever published. And chickweed is in here. Let's see, do they have a picture of it? No, they skipped chickweed. They did not give it an illustration. It also is called adder's mouth, Indian chickweed, satinflower, starwort, stitchwort, tongue grass, and winterweed. And chickweed is an annual or biannual weed. Found in abundance all over the world in gardens, fields, lawn, waste places, and along roadsides. It's usually creeping, brittle stems grow from 4 to 12 inches long and bear opposite entire ovate leaves. The small white flowers can be found blooming all year long in terminal leafy cymes, cymes, or solitary in the leaf axils. So na for sure. Its properties and uses are carminative, demulcent, expectorant, laxative. For serious constipation, take a decoction of chickweed as described below. And for other internal uses indicated by categories, chickweed is not one of the more valuable plants. Oh, geez, wow. The fresh leaves can be crushed and applied directly or made into an ointment with lard or Vaseline for bruises, irritations, and other skin problems. And then, chickweed can also be used as a vegetable like spinach. So preparation and dosage, chickweed can be used fresh or dried. Infusion, steep 1 tablespoon herb in a half a cup of water. Take 1/2 to 1 cup a day. You can make a decoction by boiling 3 heaping teaspoons of the herb in a quart of water until a pint of liquid remains. Boil it down. For constipation, take a cupful warm every 3 hours or more often until the bowels move. And you could juice this too in your juicer or just with some water in a blender. And then you could take 1 teaspoon or 1 tablespoon 3 times a day. So it might make you poop. It's not the poopy. It's not the most laxative is what it was saying up there. But it's good. It's more like food is medicine. To me, it's more like let thy medicine be thy food and thy food be thy medicine. Like it's just growing. It's just doing its thing, like it's there for you. So this is a cute little book. Also, it has really small print, but I know it has a picture of chickweed. So there she is, just a spindly little thing, but you can chew it and you can chew that stem apparently and make yourself some natural green gum, Stellaria media. Chickweed finds its most common use as an external remedy for cuts, wounds, and especially itching and irritation. If eczema or psoriasis causes this sort of irritation, chickweed may be used with benefit. Internally, it has a reputation as a remedy for rheumatism. So maybe it will help your aching joints. You can use all the aerial parts. It has saponins in it. That's really interesting to me. And it is anti-rheumatic, vulnerary, good for veins, and emollient. Chickweed makes an excellent ointment when combined with marshmallow. So everything's better with marshmallows, and everything is more emollient with marshmallow. I said what I said. Okay. All right. Oh my gosh. I'm getting excited because we're like halfway through the books. Not that I want to be done talking about chickweed. I mean, I literally can and will talk about this herb for an hour to drill it into your beautiful green head, your herbal mind, that you love chickweed. You love this plant. It's so helpful. It's so cool. Plant it in your garden, maybe. I don't know. Can you get chickweed seed? Probably somewhere. It's an annual or very short-lived perennial that has straggling succulent stems. If nothing else, your foraging ass should just love to know about this in case you are hungry on a hike. But if you've got this in your garden, eat it up. Anything you don't want in there, eat it up. Get rid of it by eating it. The leafy stems were a popular salad and vegetable herb, but it says now debate about the safety of its saponin content. Well, here's the thing. It's not growing in like crazy abundance anywhere, so I wouldn't even really worry about that. But if you eat chickweed and it makes you have like too runny of poop, then stop eating that much. I mean, trial and error, In China, the aerial parts of Stellaria, alcine, cool and detoxify fever, acne, and snake bite. So there are different, there's like common chickweed and great chickweed in that other book. So there must be other types of stellaria. Eczema, psoriasis, surface veins. There it is. I knew that vulnerary thing would come up somewhere. The surface veins. So maybe just try putting this on your skin and see. It was once used to fade freckles. So you can make a poultice or an ointment because it's astringent. It will cool the inflamed skin. But yeah, surface veins. All us vain people who care about our looks that also have veins. Interesting. We're vain and we have veins. A decoction is drunk as a cleansing tonic that relieves constipation, cystitis, and general weakness. So what else does it have here? Up to 16 inches. Leaves contain calcium, potassium, vitamin A, B, and C. Plant is a tonic enjoyed by caged birds and poultry. So if you're not going to eat it, your chickens will. All right. Are you still with me? This is a cool book from someone who lives in Pennsylvania, and she made an oracle deck, and she talks about chickweed in her book, and she's very informative with all things. The oracle card in her deck is all about gratitude and offering and memory. But chickweed is a small, low-growing plant that is often right under our feet and so tiny we can hardly see her. Yeah, she's not like huge, you guys. She's tiny. Tiny 10-petaled flowers and pentagram-shaped bracts. She forms a beautiful symbol of the healing power of nature. Chickweed can be found in patches, along houses, sidewalks, and in lawns. She is also a favorite of wild animals and chickens. So, and chick in the name refers to baby peeps' desire to eat the fresh greens. All right, so some things that chickweed helps us remember to is practice gratitude for all that we have, to have offerings, give back with our gratitude, and remember good memories. Chickweed is very mild, yet healing. All the things we've been talking about, all the minor skin issues such as bites and cuts and scrapes and burns and rashes and bee stings, all that inflamed, anything dry. It's good for poison ivy. And then inside, yeah, it's an alterative metabolic tonic. So if you have an underactive thyroid, eat some chickweed. And chickweed can be eaten as a nutritive healing food. It is very rich in nutrients and nourishing. And she has a cool recipe for chickweed pesto in the Plant Spirit Oracle. Make some pesto with chickweed. Just gather up about a cup of it. Add some garlic, mustard if you like, shallots if you like, olive oil, walnuts, and Parmesan cheese, and then food processor time. Or chop. My food processor is definitely on the brink. Okay, we've got a black book here. Let's see what we've got. Ooh, old schoolness here. Chickweed's way down here. There is a picture up here of chickweed. It says chickweed is this herb's English name. Herbe et poison is its French name. Of course, that's probably not how you say it. I'm not even going to attempt its German name or its medieval Latin name. All of these are, though, associated with birds. So it has been used as a bird feed. And indeed, it is a foodstuff for animals and country folk. Poor country folk. So it's good free food, you guys. Stellaria is from the Latin stella, meaning a star, after the flower shape, and media serves to distinguish this plant from both larger and smaller relatives, as it's a middle plant. It's a vigorous annual. Let's wrap it up. Sadie's getting bored. No, I'm not bored. It's just, we like to make mistakes that we don't edit out. But it's rapidly growing, found throughout the year, it says, and about 10 to 40 centimeters tall. Leaves are ovate acute. They are also, let's get up here so you can see that picture a little bit. They are also long, petioled, and some leaves are ovate and sessile. Well, that's getting a little extra nerdy for me. Flowers are small, white, numerous on downwardly pointing stalks, appearing early spring to midwinter. Wild plant all over the damn place. It's got mineral salts, including calcium and potassium, and it does have the saponins in this little plant up here. So tiny, guys. The crushed plant may be used in poultices. It's a vulnerary, and you can rub it on arthritic joints to relieve discomfort. It's used homeopathically in the treatment of rheumatism, and you can use it as a salad herb or a cooked vegetable with a knob of butter added. Very good. That was a huge book to hold up. Okay, medicinal plants of Eastern and Central. This field guide that my dad helped with. Hey, I'll do what I want. Okay. What's it say about chickweed here? Here's a little drawing right here of chickweed. See, that don't help me in real life, but I love these ones with the color photos. And thanks to the internet, you can just type in chickweed and get like a billion. Let's see if it says anything else. It says you can use it as a tea, as a cooling demulcent and expectorant to relieve coughs, and externally for skin diseases to get rid of itching and anti-inflammatory. So, said to curb obesity. So at this point, it's going to be a lot of repeats, but sometimes it's like I can't say no to these books. Here's Every Woman's Guide to Natural Home Remedies. Oh, this was a little different. As I'm saying, like it's all the same shit. Like here's a new one. There is a single-celled protozoan called trichomoniasis or something. It's kind of a STD or itchy thing that women get, I guess, or men. But it did say in this book that if you don't have St. John's wort to douche with, you can use chickweed. You basically make a tea and cool it, and you can use it for that. So anything itchy, even in your crack, that will work for you with chickweed. Okay. Ooh, do we get a picture? Do we get a picture in the Random House old book of chickweed? Well, there. That is a lot of chickweed. I wouldn't even recognize that to be. That don't even look like chickweed to me. Okay. That's a lot growing. You got hooked up. This goes on to say pretty much the same thing, just reminding you that you can use it like spinach or in soup. It does warn you about eating too much of it because of its high saponin content, but medicinally it's really good as a poultice ointment. Express the juice from the plant, use it as an eye wash. And yes, it will help alleviate constipation. And it's also good for virulent ulcers in the legs or the privy parts of men and women, according to Culpepper. It's found in the wild. It's found everywhere. I like the idea of using it as an eye wash. Just within the last week, I've definitely seen people with pink eye. I don't know if that's a springtime thing, but it's like, whoa, what could help them? How about a little chickweed? I can see how people would confuse it with chicory just because of the cha-cha-cha. Chickweed. Okay, here we go. Look at this. Chickweed can help soothe eczema and other skin conditions. If I haven't drilled that into your head by now, that looks like chickweed to me. A very enlarged picture of it, kinda, but that's pretty realistic. You can really get a good look at it there. Chickweed can be applied with cornmeal. Cornmeal for inflammation of the eyes. That's weird. I don't think you should put cornmeal in your eyes. But that was a Greek physician. That was a long time ago. They have not put cornmeal in your eyes in a very long time. The saponins are what makes the herb useful for reducing itchiness. So if you're uncomfortable eating it or drinking it, you can always just use it on your skin. It's definitely used for treating irritated skin. As a juice, poultice, ointment, or cream, it helps soothe severe itchiness where other remedies may have failed. It's often used to relieve eczema, varicose ulcers, and nettle rash. So if you get into that nettle, chickweed could also help you. Same with plantain and jewelweed and stuff like that. So now you're getting like an idea of the cooling properties of chickweed. An infusion may be added to a bath, and it does have emollient properties to reduce inflammation, and it will help with the rheumatic joints. It encourages tissue repair, and it may be taken internally to treat chest ailments. There's some suggestion that chickweed has an anti-obesity action. If taken in excessive doses, chickweed may cause diarrhea and vomiting. Do not take during pregnancy. So that is that. This is an excellent freaking book. Okay. This old thing, it mentions chickweed and lists. I really liked how it lists all the vitamins: biotin, choline, copper, inositol, para, aminobenzoic acid, phosphorus, potash salts, rutin, silicon, sodium, vitamins B6, B12, C, and D. Reduces mucus buildup in the lungs, may lower blood lipids. Useful for bronchitis, circulatory problems, colds, coughs, skin diseases, and warts. You got a wart, man? Put some chickweed on that. A good source of vitamin C, other nutrients, and you can also call it starweed. Okay, last two books. Thank you for hanging out with chickweed. Thank you for hanging out in general. Okay, so this is The Complete Medicinal Herbal, another one by Penelope. Here's her little chickweed page. Ooh, we haven't really talked about the root in China. Yin Chai Hu. I feel like that's a different species. Here's Stellaria media. This is Stellaria dichotoma. They do use that root as a cooling herb in fever, for fevers, stop nosebleeds, heavy menstrual bleeding. Tonic for wow, I'm done. Malnourished children. Europeans used it as free food in hard times. Yeah, you guys, free food. Stellaria media. Right there. And now right up here to have a better look at it. I see the tincture. I see the infused oil. I see the dried aerial parts. I see the fresh aerial parts. You can make this into a cream. You can put it in the olive oil. You can use it as a poultice. All those skin irritations will go away. And if your joints are achy, this is your invitation to get to know chickweed. It's a cleansing diuretic, a tonic for rheumatic pains and weak conditions. You can make a decoction. You can make a tincture. You can make a poultice. You can make a compress. You can make a cream. You can make an infused oil. You can juice it. You can cook it. You can give it to your chickens. So that is pretty fun, pretty complete. It's sweet, moist, cool. It's got some constitutes of mucilage, saponins, silica, minerals, vitamin A, B, C, and fatty acids. It's astringent. It's anti-rheumatic. It heals wounds, and it's a demulcent. And John Jared in 1597 said, in a word, it comforteth, digesteth, defendeth, and suprateth, very notably. You got me on that one, John. And finally, the herbs of life. Leslie Tierra. This is apparently, I still have notes in here when I was doing herb nerd words, probably never to return, but that's just life. She's got a whole section in here for chickweed and the Western herbs. And she says it's cooling and bitter and sweet. She talks all about the saponins and the coumarins and the hydroxycoumarins and flavonoids and carbolic acids and tetrapoids and vitamin A and C and most of the B complex vitamins and lots of calcium and iron. She talks about it's good for the lungs and the stomach, and expectorant and demulcent and emollient and antitussive and antipyretic and alterative and vulnerary. She reviews how to infuse an ounce in a pint of water and drink 3 cups or more a day as needed. And this herb is often eaten abundantly as a food for its therapeutic effects. This very commonly found weed is one of the best herbs to stop itching. It is wonderful for alleviating mosquito bites, eczema, a scaly scalp, dandruff, hives, hemorrhoids, seborrhea, and other itchy skin conditions. Further, it can be used as a drawing poultice for boils, ulcers, abscesses, and for these, it is applied externally as an oil or salve, especially with olive oil. You can apply it as a juice, poultice, ointment. The juice, directly expressed from the leaves, is especially effective for healing the scalp problems. So if you got a mess of a scalp up there, just irritated and itchy, and you got dandruff, juice some of this chickweed and let it help with that. Chickweed's moistening action relieves sore throats. It is soothing to the stomach and duodenal ulcers. It will further aid mucus expectoration from the lungs, and it will help lower the fever, and it will treat blood toxicity and inflammation and other hot diseases. Chickweed may also be used to reduce excess fat. So yeah, it's a diuretic. It is a laxative. The indications are for itchy conditions, rheumatism, boils, ulcers, abscesses, sore throat, fevers, excess fat. And you can use it as a tea, bath, poultice, oil, juice, salve, or an ointment. So anyways, wow. We did it. I don't even know which the best picture of chickweed in any of the books. They were all really cool. I wonder if Herb Fairies has a good picture here, though. Well, it'd be like drawn, but it's so cute. Let's see. Her skirt has chickweed leaves on it. So that's how tiny she is. All right, class. Any questions on chickweed? Holy crap. That was really fun. I really like this one. This one's good. That was a fun, good, long-ass review. Thanks for hanging out. And whatever you do, always remember to feel better and be well.